Grand Rising. Today is Monday. 1-1-1, baby. Some heavy energy today, hopefully. Today, the topic is emotional incest in the mainstream and emotional incest and the lack of success, as those in the mainstream are going to be those who are really successful. And then you've got everyday people like me that aren't as successful in terms of whatever you consider successful. I think I'm successful. I think I'm abundant. But that is open to interpretation, you know? So we'll start with emotional incest in the mainstream. And I want you to think of each person and their relationship with their parent as I speak on them. It'll be real brief for each person. Kanye and Donda West. Drake and Sandy Graham. Let's go back real quick. Kanye and Donda West. Kanye West is diagnosed with bipolar disorder, right? Drake and Sandy Graham. We'll take a real popular lyric from Drake. I only love my bed and my mama. I'm sorry. And if you know anything about Drake, Drake has a song for his mom in every album. Okay. The entire Kardashian-Jenner clan. The entire clan. So we're talking on Bruce Jenner, Caitlyn Jenner's sons as well. They would be considered left out children once he got into this arrangement with Chris. Okay. Candy Burris and Joyce Jones. Anybody know what their relationship is like? How her mother is involved in her relationship? Ivanka, Don Jr., and Donald Trump. And with Donald Trump's enmeshment with Ivanka, it's very incestuous, right? Very overtly incestuous. We will never know if any sexual activity has gone on between them. But if you look at Ivanka and you look at the family, they all know that Ivanka is the favorite. And we as a society have watched him dote on his daughter, kiss on his daughter, speak on his daughter in a very inappropriate manner. As a society, we made this man a president. So what does that say about society and how they view this man and his relationship with his daughter? Pete and Amy Davidson. People might not be familiar with who Pete Davidson is. He was once engaged to Ariana Grande. He now lives in a basement of a home that he bought his mother. Zaya and Dwayne Wade. And I'll actually speak on Zaya. You know, children are kind of off limits. He is a child. That's how Zaya would like to be viewed. She is a child, but there's something very important about that dynamic that I will be touching on, and it's a very sensitive topic. Anderson Cooper and Gloria Vanderbilt. Bella Gigi and Yolanda Hadid. And if you think about Bella Hadid, she dated The Weeknd for some time. And she was barely an adult when that relationship started. What does that say about her relationship with her parents? And are they really protecting her? Jaden, Willow, Jada, and Will Smith. The entanglement of 20. What was that? Was that 2020 or was that 2019? The years are meshing together right now. But when August Alsina spoke on his relationship with Jada, and he spoke on his traumas in life, he actually spoke about his relationship with his mother and his sister. That was an enmeshment. And an example of covert emotional incest, and he spoke on it. But again, people do not know the name of these traumas. And what heals us is having an identification, being able to say that is it. So that is why I'm giving you the name. Another family enmeshment, Ryan and Donna Gosling. Ryan is known for taking his mama out on a date every weekend. Excuse me. Beyonce, Tina and Matthew Knowles is an enmeshment. Lindsay and Dina Lohan. What do we know about Dina Lohan? Dina Lohan was a alcoholic, so was her husband. Kelly and Sharon Osbourne. Probably, we could really put the whole Osbourne family there. Charlie and Martin Sheen. And Britney and Jamie Spears. So those are some examples of covert emotional incest in the mainstream. I'll add one more. Paris Hilton, the Hilton family. Paris Hilton, if you've watched her documentary, what she is speaking on, when you watch her sister, I forget her sister's name, when you watch her sister kind of put her down for giving her parents trouble, that is what it looks like. The child that is enmeshed with a parent will have the outer siblings judging, and they actually conform to the ideals that their parents are placing upon them, so they don't really see how their parents are wrong. And I'll add her in there because she is super successful, and she attributes her success to not wanting to be reliant upon her parents, and not needing them for anything. So I'll add her in there. She wasn't originally in there. So what do we know about the lives of these people? And each time I brought one up, I brought up something we know about them, right? But even the rumors apply, because the types of rumors that follow are significant clues. Examine the level of involvement with each parent to their child here, or the behaviors of the family as a whole. These are different types of families, and they all have different types of emotional enmeshments. Some of the families look like their own personal cult, and many times in these families, no one can relate to their way of living. The Jenners, the Kardashian Jenner clan, they definitely speak on that. But if you've ever watched their show, how they touch each other, how they touch each other is interesting. How they, what is the one? Courtney. The way they attack Courtney is really interesting, but it's because she's not conforming to the family values. Okay, so Beyonce experienced an enmeshment with both of her parents, but her mother won out upon the divorce, and she cut ties with her father, and I can imagine that caused her a lot of grief. And Britney Spears, I saved her for last because her parents' level of enmeshment is likely the actual reason behind her losing her mind. I still haven't spoken on my mother yet, but my mom actually tried to get me to give up my financial rights to her, to assist me to be my beneficiary. And so There were things that I experienced with her that are a direct result to my mental health. Were a direct result, direct hit to my mental health. And so I really feel for Brittany, because she is likely going to be trapped forever. Because as long as she is under his control, she will never be exactly sane enough to carry on her own business as far as he's concerned. And as she is constantly working to show that she is stable, and the more she tries to show she's stable, the more she looks unstable. You know, that poor chick, he literally calls every shot in her life now. And that is, I've tried to speak on it. I went to her page once and sent her a message, which I know her page is not managed by her, but this is what is happening to her. And it's out for everyone to see, but we don't know the name. I'm telling you the name. Covert emotional incest is what Britney Spears is experiencing, what Paris Hilton is experiencing, what Kanye West experienced with his mother. And then when removed from his mother, he went and found a new enmeshment within the Kardashian Jenner clan. I'm speaking on real life people that we can see in the media right now living out emotional incest with their family members. So what's the flip side of that? The flip side of that is a person who lacks success and does not make it in life. Everything about covert emotional incest causes a spectrum. It causes a spectrum of success and lack of success. It causes a spectrum of sexuality. It causes everything that we see. So let's talk about the lack of success for a second. I fell in love with a very grown man over the age of 35. And he would not text me at night. Do you know what my mother would say if she found out I was texting a woman after 9? We are grown as shit, okay? So you better text me. And Friday nights, he would spend a couple hours with me. He was always dressed to the nines because he was going to leave around 8:30 to take his mom out. And it's possible that he wasn't always taking his mom out, but I like to believe that he was. They had a common interest and a certain lifestyle that I'll eventually be speaking on. I would call during the day, sometimes to find out that he and I were speaking on speakerphone with his mom. This man did not have much to show for his life. He had his own place. His own car, but his entire life revolved around his children and his mother. And even then, he would often say, that he was not interested in a relationship because he was so about his children, I remember overhearing a conversation he had about an ex and him saying, "You didn't approve, but look how that turned out." Yes, this man was emotionally attached to his mother. I never met her, and I truly do not mind, as I would have fought her physically for the rights to her son. One thing about him, though, he had mentioned once that his mother was very emotionally abusive growing up. And her reason was to keep him humble. She never encouraged him. She always put him down. And he always second-guessed himself. And I would assume, looking at his life, he feared failure. He always had "I'll never hear the end of it" air about himself and about everything he did. Now myself, I experienced the opposite. My parents always told me that I could do whatever I wanted, but their involvement in my life always proved otherwise. I wanted to take a year off between high school and college, and I graduated early so that I would still be on track with my peers. High school was especially draining for me, and I needed time to replenish. My mother signed me up for college anyway. She literally told me I was going to college like 3 days before I was supposed to be in class, you know. And so she stated, if I don't go right away, I won't return. But I thought I could do anything. How do I not know what's best for me? When I got there, I did flunk out. I had just graduated early from high school, meaning I had the intelligence. This wasn't from a lack of understanding. I did not have the capability to function, and she ignored that. And they chalked it up to me being irresponsible. I mentioned, no, actually I didn't mention, but I've actually been on disability for the last 8 years. But once I separated from my parents, I experienced great abundance. Anytime I made a mistake, I was infantilized. My parents are very well off, and the statements that I'm about to make were huge discussion in therapy. My therapist would call me entitled. They could not see my parents' over-involvement and their attempts to control my life. Say I didn't have rent. Rather than help me with the rent and keep me on course, they would uproot me and bring me into my father's or another family member's roof to be supervised. I mean, their exact words. It got to the point that I started to choose my family members over my father because his rules would take me all the way back to childhood. No friends, no visitors in the house. I had a curfew, and I was a full-grown woman with children. I would come in, and the rules would the dynamic would immediately become codependent. If I wasn't working, I was required to take on acting housewife, and my life would revolve around helping others within the family with no room to focus on myself. And if I protested, I was ungrateful for their help, which could have just been helping me out with a month's rent. You know, I didn't ask for you to move me into your home. This caused a lot of problems because I absolutely dreaded asking for help. I would rather kill myself, and I tried to avoid it. Give me a second because my computer decided it's going to make me do an update. Help was never help. It was lectures. It was insults. It was judgment. It was misunderstanding, and it was a burden. Many things I never even tried. And now you know, I'm the most dominant in a lot of rooms. I'm the most intelligent in a lot of rooms. I'm not trying to toot my horn. This is just how the stars aligned, okay? Taurus is the most intelligent sign in the zodiac, okay? My features, all of that, all dominant traits, okay? There's no reason. There's no reason I don't own a home and I'm renting. Except for that I was being held back constantly and infantilized. If you know of a person in middle age that is not reaching success, you know a person with an enmeshment with parent or a family enmeshment, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they are a favored child or someone that is close to their parent. It could mean that they are watching a family member who is close to a parent and they are on the outside looking in, lacking that intimacy. We want success. We're scared to go get it. Because if we don't go get it, if we make a mistake, we'll never hear the end of it.